Good afternoon, everybody. We'll be waiting for another 5 to 6 minutes. Good evening, everyone. I am Mirha Siddiq and I'll be the moderator for today's event. Before we start the session, let me take a moment and welcome everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome our honorable guest of today's session, Dr. Edwina ma'am. A heartfelt welcome to you, ma'am. I would also like to welcome our IEEE Chapter Advisor, Dr. Arun Kumar Patil, and our IEEE Student Branch Counselor, Dr. Abeksha Madhukar. A warm welcome, sir and ma'am. Now, I would like to welcome all the participants and volunteers to today's session. A big welcome to you guys. Happy learning, everyone. Sustainable energy is the provision of energy which meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. It is a power which is able to be replenished within a human lifetime and cause no long-term damage to the environment. Dr. Edwina ma'am in this session is going to take us through the steps towards sustainable energy. Today's event flow will be: first, we'll have a short discussion of our guest speaker. After that, Edwina ma'am will be discussing about the sustainable energy and steps towards it. We'll have a short Q&A session at the end, wherein the stage will be open for all of you and everybody can ask your doubts and questions to ma'am. Dr. Edwina Uzunovic has over 20 years of experience with a range of responsibilities in power system industry. She has been a vital contributor to the overall success of several leading power industry. She has been uh, serving different roles. She is currently the Associate Director of Power Systems Engineering and Assistant Teaching Professor at Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Ma'am has a BSc from the University of Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, MSc and doctorate degree in Electrical and Computer Engineering from the University of Waterloo, Canada. She is also very active in her volunteer work with the IEEE Power and Energy Society. She served as IEEE PES Vice President Education from the year 2016 to 2020. She is currently nominated for IEEE PES President-elect. Now, I'd like to welcome our chapter advisor, Dr. Arun Kumar Patil, to have a quick word and welcome our today's guest.
Good evening, all. Am I audible, Meera?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes. Good evening, all. Good evening, ma'am. Dr. Edwina, madam. I think there it is. Good morning. I think it's
Yes,
good
it
morning
is.
there. Yes. Yes. Okay. It's really great, ma'am, having you for this webinar as a resource person. Okay. I heartily welcome you, ma'am, for this webinar, madam.
Thank you. I feel honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. And I heartily welcome our participants, students, and I ask them to use this platform to gain the knowledge on sustainable energy. As you all know, we have started with fossil fuel initially in 18th century. Then once we came to know that our fossil fuels are depleting day by day, we started moving towards using the non-conventional resources like solar, wind, hydro. But as a human being, we require energy that we should understand. Energy makes our life comfortable, and to do our day-to-day jobs, day-to-day needs, we need energy. And the main source of energy is sun. We should know that whatever the energy we are getting on this earth, 90% of the energy we get from sun. And how best we can utilize that energy, how best we can convert, and how best we can use it for our day-to-day needs. That is very important. And sustainable means we should know that whatever the energy sources we are using, they should be available for longer periods of time without affecting our environment, without creating pollution. All these points we have to keep it in mind, and we have to use the energy. And day by day, you know, carbon emission is increasing, which is a major problem what we are facing. And that is why almost all the countries, they are almost stopped the construction of new thermal power plants. They are gradually moving towards renewable energy sources. With this background, I will request Dr. Advina Madam to start with the lecture program. I heartily welcome you, Madam, once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now let's begin the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Well, just to clarify something, I didn't know that I was bound by this topic, although I would be really happy to present some other time. I did prepare something that I thought would be very good for students, because I would assume that most of the attendees are students. So that's why I prepared a presentation that is geared towards the PS and students, PS students. I hope that is okay. And actually, I'm currently preparing a presentation on the recycling practices in the United States. I'm happy to say that a couple of days ago, actually, President Biden, the President of the United States, announced that the United States are coming back to the previous stand that he will request that the US reduces emission by 50% by 2030. That is something really great, something that we were all waiting for, and happy to announce that United States is going towards that goal. And to come back to that presentation that I am preparing, and should be ready by the end of the summer, because I'm currently teaching 2 courses, very busy. It is, as I said, recycling practices in the United States. What do we do with the old transformers? What do we do with the mineral oil? Most importantly, wind farms. Wind turbine are coming to the 30, 40 years. That's the lifetime. And what do we do with those parts? How do we efficiently recycle them? What do we do with PVs as well? Because they are coming to the age that needs to be replaced, and what recycling practices we are planning for that. So I would be happy to come again, maybe end of summer, and to present you that. I hope that is okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's start with this presentation.
It's really interesting, madam, to hear the recycling technology, because it is the need of the hour. As you are telling, we will going to generate lot of e-waste from solar photovoltaic cells as well as wind power plants. That is the need of the hour, madam. Yes, madam. You go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So tell me, do you see my presentation right now?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Okay, great. I mean, so many different applications. You can go Zoom, you can go Google, you can go TM meetings, and so it's kind of different technologies. So good afternoon, good evening to everybody. I'm really happy to be here because I would like to present to you how PES shaped my professional career, actually how it helped me, and how can you also benefit from the PES membership. So I was kind of lucky, because in the United States, the idea is that once when you finish PhD, you go towards the academia and you continue as a first professor, and then build up your career that way. However, I really wanted to go what is happening in industry. Instead of going to academia, I actually went to industry, and I've been working for a couple of very good leading companies in the United States. And I was also fortunate to be one of the instrumental engineers that installed, let's say, first UPFC and IPFC in the United States and in the world regarding the IPFC. Those are the PACs, power electronics devices, and as I said, very fortunate about that. However, the problem if you can perceive it that way, is the fact that once when you go to industry, there's almost no return going back to academia, switching back to academia, simply because different standards that are in industry and academia. For example, academia does require to you to have a number of published papers, right? That's the way how you kind of measure the strength of one professor. However, in industry, people are not that concerned about papers, they are more into the project. So to go back from industry to academia, it gets to be a little bit hard. However, I was lucky in a way that the climate itself in the United States is changing such that instead of just getting professors to teach theory, my university especially is looking for people that have a hands-on experience, that been in industry, and they have strong credentials to teach as well as to present the projects they did in the past. So that's why I was fortunate enough to move from industry back to academia back in 2012. So I have industry as well as academia experience. My bachelor's degree is coming from University of Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, that used to be a part of former Yugoslavia. And then my master's and PhD, I did that on HVDC and fax devices at the University of Waterloo, Canada. I started volunteering for PES. Well, actually, I first published my paper, as I would assume most of you do, in one of the transaction journals back in, I think, 1996. My paper on HVDCs, and then I got a job with the New York Power Authority, started working in 99, and then I basically moved from a student member to a professional IEEE member. However, my most productive years were 2016, 2020, when I was appointed to be Vice President of Education. And while in that role at the PES, I actually did a number of, I would say, good projects. One of them is actually started from the scratch. PES University, and PES University right now is one of the leading PES websites. It's a place where you can find all new webinars and tutorials, basically talking about continuing education, because I would assume that most of you know, once when you finish your studies and you start working either as a professional or academia, that is not the end of studying, basically. It is just the beginning of continuing to learn and use all available resources to educate yourself even further. Oops. Sorry. So let me tell you something about the IEEE. We are one of the largest professional association in the world, and our motto is advancing technology for humanity. We are almost 500,000 strong. As I said, one of the largest association in the world. And underneath, I would say, mother society, IEEE, we have a number of technical societies, one of them being PES, Power and Energy Society. We are a global association with 190 and plus countries within the PES and IEEE, and we are generating technical documentations, some top-cited periodicals, and we organize a number of conferences all around the world. These are the IEEE regions. They are numbered 1 through 10, and the regions 1 through 6 are the United States. where actually IEEE started back in 19th century in New York City. Number 7 is Canada. Number 8 is Africa, Europe, and part of Asia. Number 9 is South America, and 10 is Southeast Asia, New Zealand and Australia, and India as well. And I'm happy to tell you that Region 10, especially student chapters, is the area of the continuing growth, one of the strong growths of PES. So keep on doing the good work. Now let me get back to our PES. So PES is around 40,000 members. Our current president, IEEE PS president, is Frank Lambert. And as I said, PES is one of the out of 39 societies. However, we are the second largest one. And I would say, maybe I'm biased, probably I am biased. However, we are one of the leading societies in terms of activities and initiatives that are happening within the IEEE. I wanted to tell you, and this slide is kind of important because most of us, and I'm judging by myself, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't know much about the PS organization, how it is organized. And I think it is good for you to know how the PS organized, such that once you can find a place, a niche for yourself. So current president is Frank Lambert. However, before becoming a president, he was a president-elect for 2 years. I'm currently nominated for the president-elect. So once when you get elected for the president-elect, you serve in that role for 2 years. After that, you are going into the president role. And after that president role, you are going into the role of past president, such that past presidents help the current presidents with their ideas, with their knowledge of PES, how it works. And PES president-elect is actually starting to learn about the role of the PES president. So once when you get elected, it is a role of 6 years. And as I said, this year we have elections such that everybody, I think graduate students and up, can vote for the president-elect, for the treasurer of the society, and for the secretary of societies. Underneath the president of PES, there are different vice presidents, and each of those vice presidents have a role, a niche they take care of, such that, as I said, I was vice president-elect for the 5 years and vice president for education. In addition to the vice president of education, you have vice president publications, and that is the role that basically deals with PES publications, with our journals, periodicals, open papers, and such. There is also vice president membership and image, and as the name implies, that person deals with PES membership and image, especially social media, that is very strong. Within, as I said, there are 7 VPs, 7 branches underneath the president of the PES, and one of them is called technical activities. And the technical activities, we are dealing with standards that are developed by PES. We have a number of technical committees, coordinating committees, standing committees. It is one of the most important branches within the PES. And of course, there is also a vice president for chapters, and the current, actually, the vice president is Marjana Armstrong, and she resides in Canada. So as you see, there are a number of places where you can get involved, truly. Once when you get selected for a VP, for vice president of any of out of these 7 branches, you are basically appointed by the president past, and you stay in that role for 5 years. These are the number of chapters, professional as well, student chapters within the PES. You know that everything started, IEEE itself was organized in the United States. However, we are now a global society, and as I said, one of the largest growth that we are experiencing, especially in terms of student chapters, is coming from the Region 10. And I thank you for that. And I urge you to continue working hard and to continue getting involved with PES. One of the initiatives, I would say, but it is not initiative anymore, I would say it is now already established practice, is the fact that we would like to, and we are doing it, strong we are diversifying our PES such that we would like to have more women members. We would like to have a number of members that are or from different regions, that they have different nationalities, different religion. We really would like to be, and we are open society to everybody. And to basically prove that is the fact that this year, for the first time, we have 2 women selected for the president-elect role. That means regardless of the outcome, if I get elected or not, the PS president-elect is going to be a woman. And I'm very proud of that, because within this long tradition and history of IEEE and PES, so far we had only 3 women. So this year we will elect another 4th woman to lead the PES. Global membership growth, as I said, one of the largest membership growths we are experiencing in the region 10, 17%. However, most of our PS members still resides in North America. 41% of PS member resides outside of North America. So we would like very soon to actually change that number such that the majority of PS members are coming from all around the world and not North America. PS disseminates a number of transactions, open access journals, winning magazines. I myself, I really like Power and Energy magazine. It's the one that I always read, and once when you become a member, you can request access digitally, or they send you the publication, hard copy of publication. It is the place where you can find really what is happening in terms of industry, the latest and the greatest, presented to you in a simplified form. If you didn't know, now you will know that 40%, basically majority out of all other societies are coming, we are coming from the PS. We are generating 40% of IEEE standards are coming from the PS. And that is something that we are truly proud of, such that as an example, I can give you the fact that the one of now most popular standards is 1547 regarding renewables, and that standard was basically made within the 5 years. This is something really that tells you that we are active, we are doing it, we are fast in doing it. Basically, we saw that there is a need to generate that standard regarding renewables, and within the 5 years we organized committee, we found the leading experts in the field, and they actually generated this standard that is now widely accepted in the whole world, not just North America. I would like to also present you the IEEE PS University. It is a website that I actually started myself with a group of people the moment that when I was elected as a VP Education. We saw a need to start be more aggressive in generating a material for the continuing education of our members. It is the fact that everything in this world in terms of engineering is changing, and it's really changing fast. It's like an explosion of new technologies, and it's sometimes really hard to follow up with everything that is happening. For example, once when a student does degree in engineering, right? When you look at it, first 2 years, I'm talking about myself, but I believe that other universities are doing the same thing. Like the first 2 years, we teach our students math, physics, kind of general level courses, which is understandable, really. They have to get the good background before moving to senior level courses that we start teaching third and fourth year. And then within a number of those courses that you take as a junior and senior at university, just a few of them are actually related to power systems. There is no place, there are not so many courses in power systems offered. So once when a student graduates from a university, has a good kind of a background, but however, he or she has to continue teaching him or herself in all new disciplines that are getting into the power systems. For example, power electronics, right? This is something new, and it started basically, I would say, we didn't mention it first, SVC, and that is 1976. 1980s, really. What is that? That is like 40 years ago, right? So power electronics, communications these days, really important in power systems. So our engineers need to be knowledgeable about that as well. Big data analytics is something also that we are experiencing as we never had it before. But these days, utilities collect a number, millions, huge number of data they have to deal with. For example, new synchrophasers, right? New smart relays that are capable of basically transmitting back voltages and the currents throughout the whole system every, I don't know, how many times per second, right? I mean, you can collect all those data. However, you will need the people who are knowledgeable in big data analytics. As I said, there are a number of new disciplines that are getting into our, as we call it, smart grid. And we don't teach that. We don't simply have a time, most of the universities, to teach that. So therefore, once when you graduate, you continue basically learning and teaching yourself. And that's why the PS University was organized. It was a place where you can get webinars, tutorials, and the plain talk for all those who would like to get knowledgeable about power and energy industry. Plain talk is organized as the name implies, towards the number of people that don't have engineering background. However, they're getting into power and energy industry, and they need some kind of a background in the information of how we are doing it and what is important for them to know. As I said, in addition to that plain talk, we also have every month webinars that are free, and you can register for those webinars, and they are dealing with all new technical initiatives that are happening in power industry. And as I said, one of them is, let's say, this one that happened in April and was dealing with hydrogen electric airplanes. And we also organize a number of PS tutorials that you can sit and listen live. However, most of them are actually done online and stored at the PS University and PS Resource Center. So if you are interested in something and you are PS member, you have access to all that material. In addition to PS University, we have something that is called PS Resource Center. And I urge you, once when I finish with this presentation, go and check it out, Resource Center. It is created for the every IEEE society, including us, have the resource center. And it is organized by IEEE to better serve industry by creating more value for our members. It is meant to be an easy access to information to help with sharing best practices, education, industry trends, and etc. And it is meant to be a distribution tool for digital IEEE PS products. So once when I finish this, please go to PS University and PS Resource Center and check it out. Why PS is actually important in somebody's career? You know that as a graduate student, as a PS student member, you get a free 1 year, initial year of membership. After that, you pay, and it is scaled in different ways for different regions throughout the world, such that it gets to be accessible to everybody. I say from my experience truly that PS made a huge role in my career. For example, I was a still graduate level student, PS member. I went to the general meeting in Edmonton, I think, and I presented my research work on the poster session. I got an award for that poster session, and that's the place where I actually got in touch with the industry. My first company that I started working with was New York Power Authority, and I met them at the conference. I gave them my resume, and within a couple of days, I was invited to come to New York City for an interview. So it is really important as a place where new members are meeting leading engineers within the industry or academia, and where basically you can get a contacts regarding your jobs, possible jobs. But it's not only job, it's basically pool of people that can help you solving different problems, right? You go, let's say, to PS University or PS Resource Center, you find what you are interested in. However, you still need something. Then you actually reach out to your professional peers and basically send them an email, say, hey, I'm dealing with this, can you help me out? It is also for the students important that we do have a number of members, mentors that are helping students to find their voice and to get even closer to the PES. So basically, it is a place. PS is a place where you learn new skills and new technologies, and you gain information and insight from others through PS organized conferences, committee participation, webinars. I needed to tell you something that I actually, nobody told me. And I was kind of, as a young student, when I started going to those PS conferences, I was a bit shy, right? I thought that somebody needs to ask you to join any kind of committee, which is actually wrong. All our committees and all our meetings, including general board meeting, are open for everybody. You can find a place for yourself, sit down, listen what is happening around you, and sooner than later you'll find your own voice. And not only that, getting activated, getting more involved, you will learn how to lead, and basically, truly, you will find your voice dealing with technology, and not only that, managing people and finding new initiatives and establishing those new initiatives. Basically, you will be able to influence new developments and basically other people as well. That's the way that actually PS helped me. Now I want to tell you about some initiatives that are happening and that are available to PS students. We organize, and I'm talking now just about North America, but this is not only meant for the North America. Within your own region, you have a number of conferences that are organized that you can go to. You can even go to these conferences that are organized in the United States as a student member, because I remember as a graduate student, I was able to participate in a number of those conferences, paying just for the travel myself. Everything else, registration, as well as housing and food, is organized by the PES and the free for PS students that are actually participating at the poster session. And annually, couple of months before the meeting, we organize that and we publish basically a website where you can go and register yourself for those meetings. I said everything is free for you, but for the traveling costs. So you can go to PS, a general meeting that is always organized end of July. In the past couple of past years, it was actually beginning of August, but now we are getting back to the old practice of having a general meeting at the end of July. Every 2 years, we organize the Transmission and Distribution Exposition, TND exposition, that is now global. And before the pandemic, I actually participated. I was attendee at one of the biggest, and I would say most amazing meetings that I was able to go to was the TND in Asia, and that was in Bangkok. And it was really much better than our TND at the United States. However, TND in the United States is, as I said, organized every 2 years. And one of the last ones before pandemic was about 14,000 people attendees. 14,000 attendees, it's like really huge. And around 200 manufacturers and vendors came with their products and presented at the TND. In addition to this two meetings, there is North American Power Symposium, and it is geared towards students. This is the place where PS students, they can apply, and if accepted, they can present their own papers. So this is the place where you actually start learning how to present your own work. This PS Outstanding Student Scholarship was organized, actually the first one was during my term as a VP education. That was done, the first one was, I believe, 2019. And it is global scholarship. It is meant to be something like a Rhodes Scholar, that level scholarship. This scholarship recognizes the top 20 students from all around the world who have chosen a path leading to power and energy career. Applicants must be IEEE PS student member in good standing. It is geared towards full-time students who are pursuing master's degree. And unfortunately, to be able to put everything, all students on the same level, PhD students are not eligible for this award. This student has to be attending a university or college that is an active IEEE student branch, and it is not possible to self-nominate. You have to find a professor or industry member who is going to nominate you. However, once when you actually do that, each recipient, as I said, up to 20 every year, will receive a plaque and a prize amount of $10,000. And this prize funds go directly towards the students. So go and check it out on internet, PS Outstanding Student Scholarship. Within the United States, we recognize the fact that not so many high school students are going towards engineering for whatever reason. And to rectify that, we started something that is called the Scholarship Plus Initiative, such that PS provides only seed money just for the first year, money to start up initiative. And overall goal is to distribute as many scholarships as possible and offer to our students scholarship and career experience opportunities to simply to get students to power systems. And we started actually PS India Scholarship Award back in 2016. And it works this way. Every year students apply for this scholarship. The money for the scholarships is actually get back to after the seed money are provided by the India industry, such that all our scholarships plus initiatives in the United States are basically funded by the US industry. And in addition to having a good grades, right, good GPA, we also require that students go back and start working during the summer hours in the industry. That's how it is done in the United States. However, India itself has this India Scholarship Award, and you can find it on internet as well. And by this, I think I came to the end of my presentation. So please ask me questions. I really like questions, and that means that I did some kind of have an impact on you with my presentation. So I'm looking for the questions.
Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed a great session. This would be a
Thank you.
great asset for all of us. Now you can unmute yourself and ask your queries to ma'am.
Okay.
You can
Hello.
all.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Hello, ma'am.
I'm
Am I audible?
available.
Yes, sir, you're
Hello.
audible.
Madam, I have a question regarding recycling of photovoltaic cells as well as windmill structure. Is there any technology developed in any of the country or any standards as of now for recycling of solar photovoltaic plates or whatever we use in a windmill? Because as you already know, the life of the solar photovoltaic plates are 25 years, and as of windmills it is from 30 to 40 years. But if you see the rate of installation at which we are going, the next 20-25 years, there will be a huge amount of wastage collected from the solar photovoltaics. So as you already mentioned that you are working on recycling of these things, so I wanted to know what technologies you are working on and what are the standards available as of now for recycling of these waste.
You're right. We are actually facing a huge problem, especially when you look into the fact that many countries are promoting that reduction in emissions. So that means we will be turning towards the wind and the PVs. And the fact is that we still do not have a standard on recycling. It is really hard for me. It was hard for me when I learned that our blades are getting just buried. There is no way that we can recycle them. Most of them are fiber blade based, and at this point, we still don't know what to do about them. So when you multiply, when you actually figure out that in addition, we are not just talking about the one or two, right? Wind turbines, we are talking about millions of them now. And another thing is also PVs as well, that are getting into large numbers in not only industry, right? In a way, it's easier if you have a utility that has, say, I don't know, 5-10 megawatts of PVs. And they have a way of actually, once when they get to the end of their life, collect them and properly recycle them. What do you do with the household PVs? How they are recycled? Because one of them are actually, some of them are have a cadmium, which is a heavy metal in it. So what do you do with all that? In the past, it was a plastic, right, as a cover. Now they use glass because it's better for us to actually, you can more properly recycle glass. So what happens with them is that once when you collect them, they go on a special site, they get crushed, right? And then after that, you separate all parts, material, and you properly recycle them. We are just starting with that, even in the United States, and that is something that really start to trouble us. As I said, never before in my professional life, I never thought about recycling, honest, really. For a power engineer, that was kind of something that you don't deal with. But these days, we are also recognizing that the recycling practices are not up to the standard they should be. Another thing that is also happening is the fact that some of the PV manufacturers, and those are the most actually sought after companies, they also offer recycling opportunity. Once when you buy from them PV, at the end of the life cycle of that PV, you just return it to that manufacturer, and then they do properly recycle the panels. However, this is still nothing that is really properly organized. This is just the beginning of it. And no, definitely, we still don't have a standard on that, and we should do something about it.
Whether your university is offering any course on that, madam, recycling of photovoltaic or wind turbines, is there any course you are
No,
offering on?
no, no. Even if you look, if you go to, let's say, on Google and type recycling practices in power industry, you are not get back with the number of hits on that. It's still something that we were not dealing with in the past. This is something brand new for all of us. And if you ask me, I don't know anyone who presented recently recycling practices in the power and energy industry. And that's why I kind of, with all this that is happening around us, with our nature and environment in a danger, really, this is something that we should start working on. Not even now, we should have been doing that a couple of years ago. This is the last moment we start doing that. So if you are thinking of organizing a course, I would be happy to work with you on that, because I also recognize it is something that we don't teach our students. Maybe we will not have a time to teach them at the undergrad level, but however, later on through PES, we can organize a tutorial and get back something with a credible information about recycling practices in the industry. I also got in touch with a number of my colleagues. As I said, I was in industry for a number of years, and I basically started asking those questions. Okay, what do we do with the old transformers? And they said that some of them transformers, they have actually market itself where utilities, they can resell the used equipment, including transformers. So basically you go on that market, and then you offer those used equipment, and somebody around the world actually comes and buys it, right? Let's say transformer from United States ends up in South Africa. What happens after that, we don't know. I mean, transformers, in a way, you can get them as a scrap metal, get out the oil, and then dismantle it as a scrap metal. But there are, again, number of things, including those PVs and the blades from the wind turbines, that we still do not know how to properly recycle them.
Then my one question is, or I will call it as ambiguity. Then how can we call solar as green energy? That becomes ambiguity, no? Because after 25 years, the solar photovoltaic, they are made of most of the silica. If it mixes with soil or water, then once again it acts as a pollutant. Then we cannot call it as a green energy.
I know exactly, and it hurts me. Maybe not in my lifetime. If I'm lucky, I will not face that. But what about my kids? What about our students, right? They're going to be dealing with that. And we are just started thinking of proper recycling in our industry. And this is something that we should be more active, in addition to all those other standards that IEEE PS is organizing. We should actually generate a standard on proper recycling in power and energy industry. However, this is something not, again, that everybody will be signed on, right? Because when you say recycling, you are talking of money. You talk about the big money in utilities, and they will say, okay, it's not like a standard on 1547 that is for everybody's kind of goods. It's something that will cost industry some money, and they have to be aware of that. And some of them are doing the proper steps of doing it. Some of them don't. And there is no way you can actually make them unless the government itself steps in and say, okay, we are doing it this way. That means that in addition to proper engineering work, we have to also work on the policies and invest in some regulatory work as well. But it is a great question, and it pains me as well, because I'm kind of thinking, I mean, just look at it around yourself. when you are driving, number of wind turbines, number of PVs, right? And we have to do something about that once when they get to the end of their life cycle.
Absolutely right, madam. Absolutely. We have to, because we have to think of our next generations. Okay,
Yes,
so today we
yes,
think that solar is the solution. We are installing like anything in gigawatt scale. But after 25 years, if all that gigawatt scale is converted into a waste, the thousands of
yes.
acres of land is filled with waste. That we have to think. That is a serious issue. Some part can be recycled, but what about the? I'm worried about this silicon cells. I'm worried because that is dangerous.
Yeah, I know. How about this? We have a deal. As I said, I started working on that on my own. Kind of ask myself, okay, what do we do? How do we recycle? I'm working on that right now. Kind of busy. I have 2 courses, and but I'm gonna start continuing reading on that. I promise by end of this summer, September time, come back to me. I will have a presentation on recycling practices in the United States, and invite me. I'm gonna give it to you, and also I'll try to do something about it within the PES about recycling standards.
Definitely, we will invite madam in the month of September, October. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Rashi, you can note down. We will have an event in September or October on the recycling of photovoltaic cells. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really great. Aishwarya Nair asks, how do we submit papers for publication in PES periodicals?
PS periodicals, it is actually quite easy. You just go to that committee and you submit. There's always a live call for that, and you can submit the paper. If you are talking about the PS posters itself that are geared towards the students, such that you can actually go to say general meeting and present there, I think we are getting. Look at the Power Globe. I don't know. Are you members of Power Globe? Power Globe is actually a global email where power industry is exchanging emails and ideas. But how about this? I'm going to actually send you the link for the PS posters, and we go from there. Look for the student housing, PES student housing.
Okay, ma'am.
I wanted to thank you for invitation. I really truly enjoyed, and I'm honored that actually I came all the way to India to present something on PES. Actually, I was in India back in 2018. I went to Delhi, and also I went to Kerala, which is right at the south, very tip of India, and I truly enjoyed myself.
Whenever you plan next time, madam, let us know. That definitely we will have interaction, madam.
Thank
With this
you.
pandemic situation, it is very difficult to travel abroad. So that and in India we are facing really tough time. It's really great, madam. We having you on this platform, madam. Thank you. Thanks a lot, madam.
Thank you. I mean, the thing is, if I get to that president-elect, if I get nominated, I want to use these practices. I mean, this is the first time when we actually started learning having these virtual meetings, which work perfectly fine, if you ask me, right? Nothing kind of can replace face-to-face meetings. However, our monthly PS committee meetings are all now virtual. So You don't have to travel anywhere to get active. And that is something that I want to use, because now these days we are all kind of experienced in virtual meetings, and we can actually bring that into the PS, such that we further diversify our membership, right? I'm quite aware that the number of committees are coming from the United States. However, you can change that now. We have, and that was done simply because of fact that we were all on the same place. Now you can change that and actually really diversify PS active membership with these virtual meetings. This is something that we should use further to get equalize all of us all around the globe.
We do have another question from Bhargav ma'am. As a first year engineering student, how is IEEE useful for me?
Basically, the question is about opportunities for undergrad students for PS within the PS, right? Did I understand well? As I said, the students, this is not just the graduate level students, it is all students, undergrad as well, because to my understanding, all student chapters are open to grad students as well as undergrad students. So all these initiatives, unless called differently, let's say this outstanding student scholarship, that's towards the master's degree, but all our PS poster sessions going to general meetings are actually open to undergrad as well as graduate level students.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was really informative and a very great session. You really helped us to clear the doubts and get a more clear picture on PS. Now I'd like to call Varun to give vote of thanks.
A very good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Oh, okay, thank you. Uh, Thank you, Edwina ma'am, for an insightful session. Thank you for taking your time and presenting and answering all our questions. I would like to thank the PS team and the IEEE Exicom for arranging, organizing such a successful session. Thank you all participants for taking your time on a Sunday and attending this event. Ma'am, we fervently hope that you'll be able to execute all your ideas uh, as we discussed in the meeting. Thank you once again, ma'am. We hope to see you in September on a session on recycling of photovoltaic cells and many more sessions ahead. We hope they are physical and not virtual as this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really, truly enjoyed this. And I'm going to see you September, October timeframe.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Now I request Rashi to display the virtual plaque.
Wow, this looks great. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashi. Before leaving, I request everyone to turn on their cameras for a moment so that we can take the pictures of the session.
Okay, I'm ready. Do we have to smile?
Yes, ma'am. Is it done, Rashi? Yeah, okay. Thank you everybody for attending and participating in today's event. There's a link posted in the chat box of the feedback form. Kindly fill the feedback form and tell us how you like the event, and please help us to bring more content like this. Once again, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone can leave the meeting now.